All right, so welcome everybody to this week's meditation. And I thought we could once again do Mudita Bhavana meditation. And so the Mudita Bhavana we will do now, but in all 6 stages. So the full Mudita Bhavana meditation. And I'll just remind you that mudita is basically joy, joy that arises on the, encountering good done by other people, you know, good acts, skillful acts, and so on, done by other people. And we'll do it, as I said, in 6 stages. So the first stage is basically metta towards oneself, because metta is the basis for all the Brahma Vihara meditations. The next is somebody who who is naturally joyful, naturally skillful. I mean, need not be all the time, but these are the things that you associate with a person, that they are, they do skillful things, that they're joyful, that they are maybe somebody you even look up to. It's up to you, but basically somebody who you associate with both skillful actions as well as joyful nature. The third stage will take a good friend. The fourth stage, a neutral person. And the fifth stage, somebody with whom you're having difficulty. And the sixth stage will be all these people, and then extending it further out to all beings. So basically, it's somebody who's naturally skillful, naturally joyful, a good friend, neutral person, person with whom you're having some difficulty. We could just take a minute or two to decide who you will bring to the meditation today. So I'd like to start as usual with the Trisharan Panchashil. You could chant along with me if you want. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhaṃ saranam gacchāmi, Dhammam saranam gacchāmi, Sangham saranam gacchāmi, Dutiyampi buddham saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi dhammam saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi sangham saranam gacchami. Tatiyampi buddham saranam gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammam saranam gacchami. Tatiyampi sangham saranam gacchami. Panatipata veramani Sikhapadam samadhiyami. Adinadana veramani Sikhapadam samadhiyami. Kamesu michachara veramani Sikhapadam samadhiyami. Musavada veramani Sikhapadam samadhiyami. Sura meraya majja Pamadatana veramani Sikhapadam samadhiyam. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. We'll now say the same 5 precepts that we have just chanted in Pali, in English, in their positive form. You could repeat after me if you wish. With deeds of loving kindness, I purify my body.
Purify my body.
With open-handed generosity,
With open-handed generosity,
I purify my body.
I purify my body.
With stillness,
With stillness,
simplicity,
simplicity,
and contentment,
and contentment,
I purify my body.
I purify my body.
With truthful communication,
With truthful communication,
I purify my speech.
I purify my speech.
With mindfulness,
With mindfulness,
clear and radiant,
clear and radiant,
I purify my mind.
I purify my mind.
So sit comfortably. Back straight. Spine erect, but without any muscular forcing, without any tension anywhere. Firm base to our sitting. And a vertical, naturally erect posture for the trunk. Being aware of the body, aware of the body seated, the posture of the body, just an overall awareness. And using this awareness to anchor the mind Stop it from wandering here and there, and instead also be still, steady, grounded. Being aware now of the sensations in the body, particularly the sensation of contact with the cushion, with the floor. And through that connection going down to the earth. Reminding ourselves now of the hindrances, the tendencies that hold us back, Kamachanda, Vyapada, Dacha Kukrucha, Tinamida, Vichikipsa. The desire for sense relief, the mind looking for anything that will give it a little bit more pleasure. Dislike, manifest as boredom, dissatisfaction with whatever our current experience is. Restlessness and anxiety, laziness, sloth, sleepiness, doubt. So what we could do is to move our awareness from the crown of our head down to our feet. And as we do that, we allow these tendencies, all these negative tendencies which hold us back, to flow down towards the feet, and then from there through the ground deep into the earth. And as they flow out, the manifestation of these tendencies in the body, manifestations in the form of tensions, holding, dissolve away, the body gets relaxed, and the energies trapped in these tendencies start flowing freely, become available to the meditation. Starting with the crown of the head, top latitudes of the head, the forehead latitude, temples, middle latitudes, the eyes, the nose, the ear band, lower part of the head, including the mouth, the lower jaw, the throat and neck, shoulders, the trunk, the upper trunk, the shoulder blades, chest latitude, upper chest latitudes, middle part of the trunk, the lower stomach latitudes. Similarly, also the arms. So allowing now the upper body completely relaxed, no manifestation of these tendencies anywhere in the upper body. Moving down through the pelvis, the thighs, knees, shins and calves, ankles, feet, toes. And allowing all these negative tendencies to flow down through the ground, deep into the earth. Just allowing the earth to transform all of them, the way in which the earth transforms garbage into nourishing compost, and then into food which nourishes us. Same way, allowing these tendencies to be transformed into the factors that will help us. Initial and directed thought, joy, happiness, one-pointedness, vitaka, vichara, priti, sukh, ekagrata. And allowing these factors to flow up into our body, to suffuse our body-mind from the toes, through the legs, through the trunk, the arms, neck and head. Mudita Bhavana, first stage, metta for oneself. Being aware of what you're feeling right now, whatever your mood is right now. Kindly awareness of that, engaging with it fully. Allowing oneself to feel it fully. Connect to the experience, whatever it may be. And from this deep connection with our experience, from this contact with oneself, wishing oneself well, saying, may I be well, may I be happy, may I be free from suffering, may I progress. Bringing to mind also our good qualities. All of us have good qualities. Perhaps recollecting something skillful that you've done. Doesn't matter how small it was, just appreciating it. Saying, may my good qualities increase. May my happiness increase. If it helps, you could visualize your good qualities as a halo of warm yellow light, and allowing your joy and happiness to manifest as a beautiful yellow flower in your heart center, blooming in the sunshine of the good qualities. Bringing to mind now somebody who's naturally joyful, naturally skillful, whose good qualities are manifest. Just picturing their face in our mind's eye. Perhaps imagining them seated here with us. And encouraging any emotions of appreciation, of joy that arise when you bring this person to mind. Recalling some of the skillful things that they've done, or maybe just getting in touch with their quality of joy and happiness. this, we could say to them, may your good qualities increase. May your happiness increase. Or if it helps, maybe you could visualize their good qualities. There's a warm yellow light diffusing out of them, and allow our appreciation, our joy of their good qualities to manifest as a beautiful yellow flower blooming in our heart center. Mudita Bhavana, third stage, good friend. Bringing to mind a good friend, imagining their face in our mind's eye, imagining them seated here with us. Just getting in touch with the good qualities of our friend. Maybe it's kind-heartedness, good-naturedness, generosity, whatever it is, just getting in touch with it, appreciating the good qualities in our friend. Rejoicing in the good qualities in our friend. To encourage this, we could say to our friend, may your good qualities increase. May your happiness increase. Or maybe we could visualize a friend's good qualities as a halo of warm red light, of warm yellow light, surrounding our good friend, diffusing outwards. Could allow our joy, our appreciation of these good qualities to manifest as a beautiful yellow flower blooming in our heart center. Mudita Bhavana, fourth stage. Bringing to mind a neutral person, imagining their face in our mind's eye, picturing them seated here with us. We often know more about the neutral person than we are consciously aware of. Maybe things they've said, or some actions of theirs which have left subtle impressions on us. And often there are things which are worthy of appreciation, things that they've done, but which we haven't really noticed. So allowing those subtle impressions that they've left on us to grow into a more steady appreciation, more clear awareness, a more direct appreciation. Perhaps allowing their good qualities to become visible in the form of a warm yellow halo surrounding them, halo of soft yellow light. And our appreciation to manifest a beautiful flower blooming in our chest, in our heart center. Mudita Bhavana, fifth stage. Person with whom we are having some difficulty. Imagining their face in our mind's eye, perhaps imagining them seated here with us. Our lives, like everybody else's lives, has difficulties. And sometimes we allow one person to become the manifestation of all the difficulties we have in life. All our problems get projected onto them. Trying to get out of that state, getting more in touch with reality, seeing this person in their fullness, seeing that they too have some good qualities. Appreciating those qualities, saying, may your good qualities increase. May your happiness increase. Or allowing their good qualities to manifest as warm yellow light, soft yellow light surrounding them, and allowing our appreciation of their good qualities to manifest as beautiful flower blooming in our heart center. Now gradually moving to the next stage, sixth and last stage of the Mudita Bhavana, bringing to mind all five people, oneself, person who's naturally joyful, naturally skillful, good friend, neutral person, person with whom we are having some difficulty. Being equally appreciative of their good qualities, feeling equal joy at their good qualities. Gradually allowing our awareness to expand outwards to include more and more people, aware of the good qualities in all people, in all beings. Even though we may not be directly aware of them, knowing that all beings have some good quality or the other, they all have the potential to act skillfully, and all of them in some way or the other do allow their good qualities to manifest. And rejoicing in all the good qualities of all beings. And as we do so, we could bring to mind the verses from the Sutra of Golden Light. The wholesome, virtuous deeds of all those dwelling in Jambudvipa and those living in other worlds too. In these deeds, I rejoice. I rejoice with delight in the good done by all beings through which they obtained rest from suffering in this world. May all those who have suffered be happy. May no sound of woe be heard anywhere in the world, and not one being in poor health be seen. Instead, may beings be well, and in each other's radiance, may they mutually shine. Whatever forms of excellence there are in the human world, wherever they are wished for, may these come to be. The moment they arise, through the ripening of virtue, may the aspirations of sentient beings be fulfilled. May no beings face the pain of affliction. Endowed with exquisite, beautiful, auspicious forms, may every life be replete with infinite joy. and then gradually, in your own time, bringing the meditation to an end. So we have some time. If there's something somebody would like to share or say,
Can I ask a question?
yeah, Audrey, please go ahead. You're a little soft.
Okay. So the question is basically when I'm thinking of a person, sometimes people come to mind. Okay. So if
No,
I'm
no, sorry,
thinking
I
of,
didn't catch that, Audrey. Could you just repeat, please?
sometimes two people come to mind. Is that,
Huh.
when even though you've kind of decided on who you want to focus on,
Yeah.
but during the actual meditation, sometimes two persons come to mind, and I was just wondering if that was okay.
Yeah. It sometimes that could be distracting. The mind could sort of jump a little bit between one person and the other, and
Yeah.
that could be a little, disturbing. So ideally, it should be one person. But if you really, if two people are coming to mind, maybe one could have them both, but maybe one after the other. So
Okay.
that you're not kind of jumping rapidly between one and the other.
uh, Simultaneously, if
Simultaneously is fine because the final aim of the meditation is to be aware of the good of all beings. So
yeah.
simultaneously, I think should be fine. Yeah.
Thank you.
I have one question.
Sure, Atul, go ahead.
Yeah. So you talked about five hindrances as well as five mental factors which help us in meditation, right?
Yeah,
And you sort of talked it in terms of the visual aspects, the visualization of it, rather than, my understanding is you cultivate vitaka, vichara, preeti, sukha, and you end
yeah,
up being sort of concentrated ekagrata. So I'm wondering
yeah.
about how it helps in terms of visualization aspects of these factors.
So I was just trying to sort of empty the mind of the hindrances and try and encourage the growth of the factors which would support the meditation.
Right.
And I mean, sometimes just naming them,
Yes.
already helps. So I was more in terms of naming them and also a little bit of that, because they are there not just in the mind, they're in the body and the mind.
Hmm.
All of these factors, because both the negative factors and the positive factors manifest both in our body and our mind. You can feel them in both.
Yeah.
So I was trying to sort of work with that aspect of it, so having a tangible, having tangible
Yeah.
elements to them.
Yeah, it really helped in terms of, let's say, once they have dissolved,
Yeah,
and then you talked about sort of they themselves transforming
yeah,
and sort of helping.
yes,
So somehow, most of the time we sort of want to kind of get away from the hindrances,
yes,
but transform the hindrances to help in the meditation itself was quite encouraging, actually.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So thanks a lot for that point of view.
sure.
And I do have a connected question since you
Yeah,
mentioned about hindrances. When we are actually trying to transform the hindrances and convert them into mental factors which would support our meditation,
yeah,
during that entire process, of course, as Atul said, it does help. But even after we do that, I could like personally, I could feel there are like, for example, if my mental state, like in my mind, there was a certain amount of anger,
yeah,
and then even after doing that, that anger, uh, even if the instruction is like now like the hindrances have
yeah,
dissolved,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
but they are actually not dissolved, and I could feel that in my
yeah,
body.
yes,
So so is it, I mean, and of course then I have to go with that,
yeah,
like move ahead with that, but
yeah.
like
Yeah,
is it
no,
fine, I mean?
yeah. So I guess see this sometimes when we are meditating in a group, the one size doesn't quite fit all, and so I go at a certain pace. But supposing you were doing it by yourself and you've done this, and you realize that I can still feel it there, it's still in my body and so on. You could just do it again, perhaps. Uh, and then after that move to the meditation, but at the same time not getting too, as you said, at some point one has to move ahead also. One can't sit around saying I'm going to wait and make the conditions perfect and then I will start my meditation, because sometimes when you go ahead itself, that itself dissolves the anger as you move towards the meditation and so on. But yeah, so how long one should work on the preparation really depends on where you are at when you sit down to meditate. And so, when we are doing it in a group and we are doing it, together, then sometimes it may be a little too fast or a little too slow for various people. So, experiences like what you're saying probably are not very uncommon, but maybe then you could just, if you're feeling it strongly, just yourself do the thing once again and then connect back again.
I have another question.
Yeah, good.
Um, uh, so somehow I notice a qualitative difference when I'm doing it collectively and it's being done by somebody else. Okay, but when I'm trying to do it on myself, I mean, I'm trying to do it on my own on in my daily practice. Somehow that there seems to be there seems to be like a less of a qualitative aspect to
Yeah,
it. And so, how does one increase, the feeling that, um, or maybe there's less distraction, there's less, when I'm being led in a meditation.
yeah,
But when I'm trying to do it on my own, sometimes I struggle
yeah,
to move through the stages, or
yeah.
so is it just practice, or I seem to be missing something, or
Hmm, hmm, hmm. So actually, I think in general, when one is meditating with other people, it does have a qualitatively different feel to it. So I think they just feels different when you're doing it with other people than yourself. And when you're doing it by yourself, if particularly if there's a tendency for more distraction and so on, one could perhaps try giving oneself instructions. I don't know if you've tried that, but that may be worth trying. That you instruct yourself as you're going
okay,
along.
okay,
You don't have to say it out loud, but in your mind, you just go on instructing yourself and moving,
okay,
throughout, just as though you are teaching yourself, you are instructing yourself.
okay.
Sorry, could you repeat Audrey's question, please? I didn't get her question at all.
Okay, so I think Audrey said two things. One of them was that there was a qualitative difference to doing the meditation with other people and doing it herself, and that she sometimes found it a little harder to do practice herself, and that sometimes there are more distractions, difficult to stay with the meditation. I mean, I'm paraphrasing; those are not her exact words.
Chandrika, you need to unmute.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I have unmuted you. Yeah, go ahead.
it's come again. Unmute again.
Yeah, I did that.
Okay, now?
Yeah,
Yes,
yes.
yeah, okay.
Uh, I have a question about difficult person. When you think about difficult person, first negative qualities pop up, not positive.
Yes.
And then how to eliminate those negative qualities, though you see positive qualities in them, but negative qualities are there.
Yes. So here, I think right now we were not trying to say that the negative, whatever things which are causing difficulties for us are not there. But we were just trying to see the person more fully, because normally we only focus on those aspects which we find difficult,
Yeah.
which are creating difficulties, which are creating problems, and which we may regard as negative, etc. So that doesn't often it blinds us to the fact that there's more to the person. So here we were just, in this particular meditation, we were just trying to see the person more completely, see also their positive qualities, because we spend enough time seeing their negative, what we would call their negative qualities. So we are just trying to not do that, but instead try and look at the positive qualities and therefore get a more rounded picture of the person.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
We should see, but then that part, how to eliminate that? That part is also always there, though not
Yeah.
mine, but first introduction of that person is through negative qualities.
Yes, yes. It is a person who we have difficulties with. And so, I mean, we are not here trying to sort of necessarily change the person, but change our view of the person.
Correct.
Yeah, so that's what we are trying to do. And so the first stage in that perhaps is to appreciate that the person has so many qualities. And that maybe we have focused narrowly on some qualities which we are finding difficult, and that has made our relationship also, it has colored our whole relationship. Uh, so we start then by sort of getting a fuller picture of this person, which then sometimes allows us to interact with the person in a different way, in a way which will then, reduce the difficulties that we are having. We are not as such trying to change the person. We are trying to change. So in that sense, we are just letting go of the habitual tendencies of our mind to pick on the negative tendency, whatever we find difficult about this person.
I here back to differ. Here we are seeing the positive qualities,
Yeah.
but then negative qualities are still in our mind. So there should be some meditation or something like that, that which takes away those thoughts also,
There are,
which are
yeah. So there are other meditations which work on, yeah, all meditations work on your mind, on the way your mind views things, the way your mind projects things. So, there are other reflections that one could bring to mind. This was a reflection on appreciating positive qualities. So there are other possible reflections you could bring to mind, which is like, for example, that which Shantideva has in his Bodhicharya Avatara. I think this is in his chapter on Shanti. So over there, he says things like, when you reflect on a person with whom you're having difficulty, you reflect, this is, I think, the verse, he says that he has picked up the stick and I have picked up the body. This is the twofold basis for suffering. Who is there to blame? So what they're trying to say is that the difficulty is whatever problems we are facing comes for two reasons. One of them is their qualities, and the other is our qualities. It's the combination of these two which has led to the difficulty. And whereas we are focused completely on them and saying that they have something which is a problem without worrying too much about what is there in me, right? So this kind of reflection sort of makes you sort of look more holistically at the situation and see that there are both aspects of it. There's the aspect of their qualities, there's also the aspect of my qualities, which are which are contributing to the situation. So there are many reflections, but as I said, this particular meditation was on appreciating good qualities.
Thank you.
Just one point to add to that, like, last meditation was also on mudita,
Yes.
and where we also talked about the potential of having the good qualities, right? Even
Yes.
though outer appearances we are not able to see the good qualities, but just uh, appreciating the fact that there is a potential for good qualities sort of
Yeah.
helped me a lot in terms of
Yeah.
seeing past the outer appearances of negative qualities of a person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so maybe we could close with this. I'd like to thank all of you again for joining, and I'd, particularly, like to appreciate again Atul's help in setting up Zoom. It's really been nice to have, to be able to chat, to see everybody's face. So, thank you. And as I said, thank you all for joining. And we could
Thank
end
you.
with the Dhammapalan Gatha, and we'll meet again next week.
Yeah.
सब पाप सकरणं कुशल सौपसम्पदा सचित पर्योदपट्टं बुद्धान शासि धम्मं करे सुचरितं नथं दुचरितं चरे धम्मचारी सुखं सेति अस्मि लोके परमित न तावता धम्मधरो यावता बहुभासति यो च पम्पि सुपानं धम्मं कायेन पश्यति सर्वे धम्मधरो होति यो धम्मं न पमजति नति मे शरणमयं बुद्धो मे शरणं वरम् एतेन सच्चवजेन होतु मे च मङ्गलम् नति मे शरणमयं धम्मो मे शरणं वरम् एतेन सच्चवजेन होतु मे जयमङ्गलम् नथि मे शरणमयं सङ्घो मे शरणं वरम् एतेन सच्चवजेन होतु मे जयमङ्गलम् नमो बुद्धाय नमो धम्माय नमो संघाय साधु साधु thank you, and goodbye. See you next
Thank
week.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Bye.
see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.